So I want to start by saying good evening and welcome to the 2021 Winnipeg North NDP nomination meeting. As you know, I'm Judy Wassila-Chalice. I'm a proud North Ender, a former member of Parliament for this great constituency, and as I like to say to folks, a current member of the Winnipeg North NDP Grey Hairs. I see there's quite a few there to join me on this in this club, this very elite club. So I'm very honored to be your MC this evening and uplifted, as I've said already, by this huge turnout and the enthusiasm people have brought to this meeting to officially nominate our candidate for the Winnipeg North NDP, the incredible Melissa Chung-Mowat. So to begin with, to do this properly, as we all need to do at the start of our meetings, I want to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 territory, the ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Oji-Cree, the Dakota and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation, and where our water is sourced from Shoal Lake 40. But I want to also add, since today is Earth Day, it reminds us to tread softly on the earth and to offer our respect and gratitude to the traditional caretakers of the land. So now, to set us properly on course for this meeting, with grace and dignity, I call on Elder Vern Dano, who will open this evening with a song and a message. Vern.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to sound my voice and to render a prayer for the people of the North End. I'm very honored today to be able to help our friend Melissa, who has always been there for the children, for the families, and so forth. I thank you, Judy, for the introduction. And maybe I'll join the gray hair, but give me another 20, 30. My family, we don't get one thing with my family is we stay black hair right into the late 70s, 80s. So I have to deny the club for a little while.
Okay.
But I will start off with a song and a prayer. And these songs and prayers come from the land that's been denied here for many years, but now we're opening it up like a flower. It's starting to show. We're starting to show our beauty in regards to our culture, our perspectives, our languages, and so forth. And so my name is Strong Running Horse of the Lynx Clan. I'm a Anishinaabe living in Treaty 1 territory, which we already got the acknowledgements earlier. So the song I want to sing is that of the turtle here. I have a turtle, and that is of truth. And that truth that when we represent those that can't speak, those that have no power, those that are in poverty, those that need our help, that are stronger, we need to represent that truth by how good we listen to them. And so I'm going to ask that turtle, spirit of the turtle, to come and join us. And so with that, I won't sing too loud because I don't think we did a sound check here. So, oh, kick the beat, Parmesan, Wabandan, Anonke. Mikanakawichi, Ahushawa, Nishanabe. Yahweh, 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 oh, kick the beat, Pamazaki, Wabandang Anuki, Mikanakawichi, Ahushawan. Oh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Amigos que eu meto o anegi amigos aqui gostas. Amigos que niket uski wabanga we que eu meto. Amigos que eu meto que te meto que bindigen we. Wiji shmishke ki we. Kana masi we meno mi kana we. Sometimes we might not see the road as good, or sometimes we might not see a road that is good. But I ask you, Creator, to help this lady to help the people that are working with this leader today. Help her to always do this work from her heart. We all have smart minds, Creator, but we have to do it with our heart and our spirit. Let's not forget those that need our voice, our back, our legs, our hearts. And to do this work with a kind heartedness that's needed. We can be all as smart as we want, but we need to have that spirit of working together. We're only as strong as our weakest link. And so, as we bring forth this family together, we're a family together. Sometimes there might be some disruption, maybe some challenges, but always focus back on the problems and challenges of the community. Always remember that it's those little children that need better education, safer homes, safer neighborhoods, better programs. Great Spirit, I ask that our past leaders teach our current and future leaders the ways and how to help our people. And last but not least, ni Mama Aki. I give thanks to Mother Earth, for she's always been here for us. And with that, I say miigwech, thank you, thank you, thank you. And extend my regrets that I have to continue on with my journey tonight. And I'll always be there for you, Melissa, in a good way, I say that. Oh, miigwech. Thank you, Judy.
Miigwech, Vern, really appreciate your spiritual message for grounding us in the values that are so important for the journey ahead. We really appreciate your song and your message. And you should know, Vern, you are welcome anytime, whatever color of your hair, in our Gray Hairs Club. So as I said earlier, as people entered the room, I'm really overwhelmed by the number of people who are showing up tonight. It's so encouraging to see such a large turnout this evening and to have so many people from from some elders in our community, longtime members of the NDP, young New Democrats, activists, community members, the whole cross section of reflecting the diversity of Winnipeg North. It's so encouraging and powerful to see you all. And it's so important to know that you're here to help bring Winnipeg North home. Home to the party of Medicare. Home to the party of Stanley Knowles and Tommy Douglas. Home to the process of inclusion. Home to the heartland of Canada's struggle for economic equality, social justice, and human dignity. We have many speakers tonight who are front and center in that struggle and who will share insights into the challenges facing us on the eve of a federal election. I can tell you from my own experience, after more than 40 years in the political trenches and 6 times a candidate in this riding of Winnipeg North, what that all tells me is I think we have what it takes to win back Winnipeg North. I see from the last few months of talking with folks in the riding and talking with Melissa and her team, I see a movement for change, a renewed membership, a mobilization on the ground, a team of tech-savvy organizers, and I see unwavering commitment to the values of equity, diversity, and inclusivity. I also see the resilience that we have in our midst as a result of all the ups and downs of political life. And I feel the gratitude of everyone to those who came before this group, all of us, people like Kyle Mason, who was our NDP candidate in the last federal election, and who in that election, along with his great team and organizer Colleen Epp and others, stopped the slide in our support and brought home a solid second place finish with over 25% of the vote. So I don't know if Kyle, I haven't been able to see everyone on the call, but if you're there, thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution and for your guidance and your support as we move forward in the future. And I also see gratitude for that small group of New Democrats who kept our association alive and afloat in the toughest of times. People like our official agent, Luba Bezerra, who kept us in good standing with Elections Canada. And of course, the person I'm going to introduce next, the president of the Winnipeg North NDP, Mohammed Ali. Take it away, Mohammed.
Thank you, Judy. Your last name has all the alphabet in it, so your name is as long as your height. And always, you've been there for us whenever we need you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow New Democrats. My name is Mohammed Ali, and I am the president of Winnipeg North. A long-standing member with the NDP, I ran twice in the federal election as an NDP candidate in Portage-Liscott. Also ran twice in the provincial election in the constituency of Morris, Manitoba. I have decided to step aside to make way for younger generation. I think all of you will agree we have a young person who came forward seeking the nomination here tonight. I would agree with all your support, we could win back this seat from the Liberals and send our candidate to the House of Commons in Ottawa, Melissa Chung-Mowat. I spoke to her a few times and I find that she is very eloquent and very presentable. And I think with all our help, we can get her over the middle line to win this seat back. I know Kyle did a good job the last time with 25% of the votes, but he had to step aside because of family issues. So I would like to say thank you all, and let's have a good nomination. Back to you, Judy.
Thank you, Mohammed. Really fine words. Really appreciate your message tonight, but also how you've held us together over these last few years when it was a lot of ups and downs. And I know that there are people on this call like Liz Ambrose and Mark and Connie Conker and others who were part of that. Oh, and James, I see James Brennan there. And who else did I miss? I'm not sure, but there was a small group of us who stuck together and kept things going. And we're grateful for your leadership, Mohammed. In a minute, we're going to just pause and take a group shot of everyone, but just let me, as a lead into that, introduce a few of our special guests that are with us tonight. And I got to get my list and make sure I've got all my stuff. Okay, so can I introduce, and maybe as I do this, you can flash your, wave a hand or something and you'll appear. Mintu Sandhu, who's the MLA for Maples. Mr. Sandhu, are you, can you wave? He waved, thank you. Jennifer Chen, Winnipeg School Division #1 School Trustee. Well, I guess she waved, there she is, yay. Leah Gazan, who will be speaking later, MP for Winnipeg Centre. Greg McFarland is the Seven Oaks School Trustee, is a Seven Oaks School Trustee and was a candidate for us in the federal riding of McPhillips. Sorry, provincial riding of McPhillips, sorry. Our MLA, NDP MLA for St. John's, the formidable Nahani Fontaine. Just making sure she's She can come and wave to everybody. Malaya Marcelino, who you will hear from later on, who's the MLA, NDP MLA for Notre Dame. Did I miss anyone? Elected officials, leaders of organizations, anyone else? You could also send me something in the chat and we can do some more introductions. Now, what we'd like to do is we're going to take a group photo before people have to come in, people are coming and going. Before that happens, we're going to take a great big group shot for history, for the history books. So what do we do, Joe?
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks, Mom, Judy. We want to take a photo of everybody who's on the call tonight. So if you're comfortable having your face on social media, turn your camera on. If you don't want your face on social media, leave your camera off and we will exclude all of the images where it's just people's names. So your name won't be out there, and we will also erase all the names off of the screen before we show it. So Simmerpreet, are you ready? Are you good to go?
Yes. The view is still, I can only see you.
Can you switch to gallery view in the upper right-hand corner?
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Okay, so it looks like we've got like 4 panels here. So let's say what would be like Melfort, Winnipeg North. No, that's too much of an O shape. Let's just go like big smile and thumbs up, but you got to hold it for like 10 seconds. Okay.
Yes.
So 3, 2, 1, and Simmerpreet, let us know when you're done.
Just one more second. Okay, good. That's one panel.
Oh, everyone has to hold it because we don't know which panel we're on.
Thank you with your patience. And that's it.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Back to you, Mother.
All right. All right, everybody ready for the next half of the show? So again, my thanks to Mohammed and Joe and all of these organizers who have made this Zoom call run so smoothly so far. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Member of Parliament for Winnipeg Centre, Leah Gazan. I have known Leah for many years and have always believed and told her so that her place was in the House of Commons. And in the short time since her election, in October 2019, Leah has established herself as a knowledgeable and forceful voice for social justice. I don't know how she does it, but on just about every issue regarding action and advocacy, she has been there. On climate change, Indigenous justice, guaranteed livable basic income, and more. A true advocate. And let's not forget that Leah, this is important for Melissa, that Leah is living proof that a hardworking NDP candidate with a group of dedicated volunteers can upseat a less than remarkable Liberal MP anytime. Friends, I present to you Leah Gazan.
Thank you so much for the introduction from one of my heroes who I call Judy. I have to always cheer for Judy every time I see Judy. And also to Muhammad Ali on your, passing the torch. Thank you for being the president of Winnipeg North, and to certainly the executive who has kept this riding going. And to all the good people here tonight, what a wonderful turnout for Melissa, because Melissa is a pretty wonderful candidate. And, you know, on this day, on this very important day, I can't think of anywhere better to celebrate. I had an exciting thing happen to me today. I got vaccinated. Just before I give my spiel for Melissa, I'm going to give my spiel to promote getting vaccinated. I want to let you know you can't feel a thing and it doesn't even hurt. And I want to, before I get started, I want to encourage everybody that is here tonight to not be afraid and to go get vaccinated for yourself, for your loved ones, and our community, because we are going to get through this together. When Melissa asked me to be here tonight to share a few words, I can't tell you how honored I was. Melissa is, although seems quiet and humble, is brilliant. Melissa is strong. Melissa is the kind of voice we need in Winnipeg North. And I can tell you, as a member of parliament currently sitting in the House of Commons, this riding lacks representation. I need to work with a neighbor. I need to work with a neighbor who cares about human rights, who wants to fight social inequality, who on Earth Day will celebrate me by working together to fight against the climate emergency, that will lift up the human rights of all peoples, who will fight on the front lines of women's rights. We need to have somebody like Melissa in the House of Commons, and I know that we can do it. I want to remind everybody, when I decided to run, even for nomination for Winnipeg Centre, I was considered the underdog. And I was told, Leah, it cannot be done. And then when I was nominated to take out an incumbent male, nevertheless, I was told it's going to be a rough ride. I don't know if it can be done. But I agree with Judy. With the help of volunteers, with the help of a strong team, with a strong candidate like Melissa, we can take back Winnipeg North and send her to the House of Commons at the end of next election. Now, there are so many ways you can help Melissa, whether it's just telling a friend about Melissa, whether it's making a donation, whether it's volunteering on her campaign, whether it's just making sure that everybody you know, when it comes to election time, that you get every single person you know out to vote. We can get Melissa elected, and we need strong women in the House of Commons. We need strong BIPOC women in the House of Commons, because our voice matters. Our voice makes a difference. Our voice is a lacking voice in a place where our voice has been historically excluded. I need my sister Melissa sitting beside me in the House of Commons, speaking truth to power, so we can fight for a better world together. So I want to congratulate Melissa on her nomination tonight. I am excited to fight alongside you in the upcoming federal election and make sure that both of us take a place in the House of Commons, so we can build a wonderful Winnipeg Centre, Winnipeg North relationship again, and fight for a better world for all. So thank you very much, and best of luck, Melissa, and to all my NDP colleagues online tonight. We are fighting hard, and we will keep rising and pushing for a better world for all. Thank you very much.
Oh, miigwech, Leah, so inspiring. I saw you had a newspaper column today in the local North Times, and you said you can hardly believe that you are the MP some days. And I just want to say, we can hardly believe what you managed to do day in and day out for all of us. And thank you very much for taking the time from your crazy schedule. I know the House is sitting, I still turn on CPAC, and I saw your question the other day about Kevin Lamoureux and that petition, which has made has made news everywhere, and has been really needed to be called out. And I thank you for everything. And now we're going to just have a little bit of music from another great North Ender, a great musician. Let's pause for a minute and take a deep breath and listen to the beautiful music of North End resident and local musician, Yasmin Reyes.
Hi, I'm Yasmin. Thank you for having me here. And oh yeah, before I start, I wanted to say congrats to Melissa. Good luck. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna get my thing. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. As I turn up the color on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Na 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 na. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there are some with no home, not a nickel to loan. Could it be really me, pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, and they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make the change. Gotta get it right while you got the time. It's when you close your heart, then you close your mind. Man in the mirror, I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. Na 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 na. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life.
Marami pong salamat. Yasmin Reyes, beautiful. Maganda. It was such a uplifting and appropriate song for all of us, but particularly to give energy and support and lift her up, to lift Melissa up. Perfect. Just before I go on, I just wanted to say I was scrolling through and trying to find other people that might be MLAs or candidates, and I saw Zoma Asaguara is with us, MLA for Union Station and health critic. Hi, Zoma. Thank you for coming.
Hi, folks. Super happy to be here. Go, Melissa. You're amazing.
Great. And then I also noticed a couple of candidates, Jordana Islam, who ran for us provincially in the last election, and Evan Crosney, who ran for us federally in the last election. Did I get that right, Jordana and Evan? Thank you very much for everything you've done and will continue to do. Now it's my privilege to welcome another guest speaker, Mitch Urbanier. Mitch is an educator. All of you probably know Mitch. You've seen him everywhere. He's been in the news. He's everywhere in our community. He's an educator, a community activist, founding member of the Bear Clan Patrol, devoted his life and all of his personal time to supporting at-risk youth. And by emphasizing the value of good citizenship and volunteerism and community activism, Mitch helps young people make positive changes in their lives. We owe you so much, Mitch, for all you do day in and day out. We welcome you now. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you, Judy. It's a real honor to be in this group tonight with all the wonderful people that have joined us. And I'm humbled that Melissa would ask me to speak a little bit on her behalf. Judy, you are royalty to me and legendary in our city and in our country. So thank you. I'd like to acknowledge Vern for his prayer and his song. And some of my heroes in this group tonight, many of whom are women. Leah Gazan, and thank you, Leah, for those powerful words. Nahani Fontaine, Jessica Dumas. I'd like to also acknowledge Ozuma as well as just a wonderful leader in our community. I walk the streets of Winnipeg North every day. Every day of my life, my feet touch the soil of Winnipeg North with OPK, with Mama Bear Clan, and with Drag the Red. I love the North End. I love the NDP. I love what the NDP stands for. I grew up with Ed Schreier as my premier and Ed Broadbent as my federal leader, the two Eds. I'm a believer in our leader, Jagmeet. Like many of us on this call, we're implicated and we're passionate about the community, about poverty, child poverty, homelessness, our unsheltered relatives, our brothers and sisters on the street, housing. These are all federal responsibilities as far as I'm concerned. Indigenous issues, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, men and boys, and two-spirited, calls to action, reconciliation, and other things that I'm sure we would probably agree on: a guaranteed annual income, climate change, a climate emergency, as someone mentioned tonight. I absolutely, in my heart of hearts, believe that Melissa is the right person at the right time to do what Leah did, and that's take down a male incumbent. I met Melissa, and she's humble, but don't mistake her humility for not being a strong person. She is powerful, like many of the women on this call, just superheroes and powder kegs and movers and shakers and leaders that I want to support. I want to support BIPOC. I want to support people of color. I want to support women and trans. Mama Bear Clan was founded on that, led by the women, supported by the men. And that's actually where I met Melissa. I met Melissa on a snowy night on my trail, on my trap line, which is Winnipeg North, doing Mama Bear Clan. So she's out there. You know, she lives in North Point Douglas. She lives a stone throw from the North Point Douglas Women's Center. My God, what a beautiful place. We have to all work together, and I will be knocking on doors and I will be putting up signs. And I did that for Kyle, and I want to thank Kyle. I'm glad a few people mentioned him today. But I want to do that for Melissa because I really believe in her. She is kind. She is young. She is bright and passionate, and she is the right person for this job at this time. And she will triumph with all of us behind her. It's the key to Melissa's victory will be to get out the disenfranchised vote. That'll be key. We have to get people out that previously have not had a voice. We have to encourage people to use their voices in this world climate. You know, the verdict of I'm not going to say his name, but the verdict of the man who murdered George Floyd. You know, change is coming. And the NDP is part of that, with Jagmeet, with Melissa, with Leah, with our provincial, our wonderful provincial NDP folks. So I'm ready. I'm ready to support Melissa, and with all of us, she will be victorious, and she will represent. Winnipeg North will be orange again. It breaks my heart that it's red. So, Melissa, I love you, and I'm pretty easy with my love yous. Judy, I love you. Leah, all of you, and I'm just going to keep doing what I do every day, because every step I take is a prayer. I want to, with Melissa's help, with the NDP's help, I want to make a difference in people's lives, people that have been put down, that have been kept silent. I'm angry and sad and resolved all at the same time to make a change in this world. And I believe Winnipeg and Winnipeg North is the epicenter. It is a spiritual place. And with all of our prayers and all of our efforts, we will support Melissa, and we will ride a new wave to a new time. I love you all. Miigwech.
Wow, incredible, Mitch. Wow, your words of love for Melissa and for so many, for me, for so many people is just so moving. We love you, Mitch, for everything you do. And I've just been scrolling through and noticing some other names of incredibly committed community activists who know that the seeds of change are planted locally and bear fruit when this mix of community activism and political empowerment happens. And I see Tara, there she is, Tara, the head of the North Point Douglas Women's Resource Center, and Lori English, West Central Women's Resource Center, two formidable women who work day in and day out, and Tyler Pierce, who's head of LIGHT, Local Investment Towards Training and Employment, and I'm probably missing other people. And Joe is reminding me about a couple of other people who are on here that I've missed. Mike Boyes, provincial candidate in Riel. Mike, thank you for being here. And also we have Winnipeg's, another Winnipeg school trustee, longtime activist who's worked at the local level in the trenches for decades. Someone I always salute and admire, Betty Adele. And who else? Did I miss anyone? sorry, was the last thing I said that I meant that I just noticed that Daljit Brar has joined us, MLA for Burroughs. Did I get that right? Okay, so I could go on and on, acknowledging the incredible group of activists and loyalists and New Democrats and people who just give so much day in and day out, but I thank you all. Mitch, you're not, you in effect, between you and Leah, you have placed in nomination the name of Melissa Chung-Mowat. And it's my job to just introduce her briefly. And it's amazing. I've only known Melissa, oh, what was it? Lori, when did you call? 6 months ago, maybe? And I almost understood from the moment I met her that her politics came from the grassroots. It came from the values of inclusion and equity and diversity. It came from a desire to turn those values into something more, into political action. It came from the drive to see real change take place. And Melissa, you know, I'm saying all these things, not just because, and even though I don't know her that well and heaping praise on her, not just because she's a hyphenated name like mine, and not just because she's a mixed ancestry like me, she is all that, but she's got deep roots in the diversity of our land and deep roots in our community. She is a Métis woman, a second generation Chinese Canadian who was born in Winnipeg, raised in the Interlake and Portage la Prairie, and is an actively engaged community member of North Point Douglas. She has spent 10 years working on anti-poverty causes, as well as on anti-racism and truth and reconciliation efforts with community organizations here in Winnipeg North. The short time that I've known Melissa, I get the sense that hard work, organizing, outreach, teamwork, compassion to all she meets, all are necessary ingredients of a winning campaign. And for Melissa, they are all second nature to her. Friends, activists, community leaders, fellow New Democrats, I present to you our candidate, the next MP for Winnipeg North, Melissa Chung-Mowat.
Goodbye.
Hey, Mel, you're muted, which is hilarious, but
Sorry,
start over.
of course I did that. Thank you. I was just saying, which is maybe good, I needed to take a deep breath because I've almost cried several times already. And thank you everyone who's spoken so far. It means so much to feel so supported in this moment. And so good evening and, you know, happy International Mother Earth Day to everyone here. Thank you so very much for being here tonight. It's an incredible honor to be standing here as your candidate for the next federal election and as your next MP for Winnipeg North. We are here because we're in it to win it. And I know it's possible because incredible things happen when community rallies together. This is a first step in a big journey ahead of us, but it is an important step. And, you know, I'd just like to take a quick moment to thank, again, everyone who's here, the provincial MLAs who've joined us tonight, Mintu, Uzoma, Nahani, and Diljit. Thank you so much for being here. If I've missed anyone, I'm sorry. Thank you to Vern and Judy and Mitch and Leah and Malaya, who's up next, for offering your wisdom tonight. Thank you, Yasmin, for sharing a beautiful gift with us. And thank you to our ECHO interpreters for helping us ensure that this meeting is accessible. I'd also like to thank everyone who's here tonight, many of whom I see as my mentors. Having you here to support this movement and to look towards the future together means so much. I'd also like to thank my friends and family who've shown so much support. And as family goes, here in Canada, we're small, but we're mighty. And I'm talking to my mom, my aunt, my cousins, my sister, and my niece. I'm feeling much love and support from my family in Hong Kong and my family in Amsterdam as well. And I think my dad is on the call, calling in from Hong Kong, which is amazing. I think he made it work.
There he is there, Melissa.
Awesome.
We can all see him.
I'd also like to thank my partner, Kevin, who's been my biggest cheerleader and my rock, and who's going to have to continue playing this role for quite some time. And finally, I would just really like to thank my team who came together to give me courage and support, guidance and feedback, and their time, so much of their time. Thank you. This first step wouldn't have been possible without this team and without this community. When people ask me why I chose and why I'm choosing to run, at the core of it is a deep love for community and a deep, deep desire for a better future for us all. When people ask me this question, I also tend to share about where I come from. So I don't come from a political family, and I don't recall ever talking about democracy or the leaders of the day or a democratic right to vote or social justice. And I don't come from wealth and I don't come from power. But where I come from is I come from my mom, a strong Métis woman who raised me. And what I do know and what I do recall is that we lived through struggle. My mom and I fighting systems, struggling to find stability, navigating complex systems of poverty. And this experience and deep knowledge of systems and what impacts families, single parents, Indigenous peoples, and many, many more, is that it has given me a deep, deep desire to want better because we need better. I also come from my father, a Chinese immigrant with a long family history of upheaval and migration. And what I know from my dad is I know about sacrifice. Each generation striving for a better future for themselves, for their children, and for future generations. So though I wasn't raised by my dad, I was still nurtured by my family abroad to have a strong sense of belonging within my family and within my Chinese roots. And these experiences have showed me and have really demanded of me that I walk in different cultures and in different worlds, that I navigate the culture I was born in and the cultures that I come from. It's given me a deep appreciation for the diversity of struggle across communities. So while I don't come from politics, I come from experiences that help me navigate this world and give me the deep desire to build relationships and solidarity across diverse communities to make things better for everyone. And it's solely because of this community that I'm here tonight. And we're going to need this community strength moving forward. The past 13 months have been incredibly difficult, and the effects of the pandemic have been felt in very uneven, unjust, and unfair ways. And what is clear is that this pandemic is an immediate crisis layered onto multiple other crises: our housing crisis, our healthcare crisis, our mental health crisis, and addictions crisis, as well as our climate crisis. It is the status quo of a system that puts profit before people, a system where power is centralized in large corporations and with the political elite. And it is this status quo that has led to the steady erosion of our social safety net and the widening gap between the richest Canadians and the rest of us. And we know that these effects and the multiple crises have been felt here in our community. We've seen the devastation in our long-term care homes and hospitals, among small businesses, women, and for those who are already living in poverty. Over the past 4 months, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to connect with people across our community and from all corners of Winnipeg North. People who have shared their stories and their hopes and their fears with me. I spoke with a senior recently who is 89 years old and has lived in the North End her whole life. She's been on life-saving medication for the past 11 years, and the cost of this medication has kept her in poverty. I've spoken with people who have family members who are in the grip of addiction and who have few to no resources available. I met a man who has been homeless for over 2 decades. He shared much of his story with me, and he also shared that during the coldest, most brutal cold snap of our winter, he sought shelter in a bus shack and was forcibly removed 5 times in a single day. I've spoken with healthcare workers who've kept our healthcare system afloat, but who have also carried the heaviest burden of seeing the devastation and loss due to the pandemic every day. And I've heard from youth who feel the weight of climate inaction. They feel the weight of having to push conversations and urgency forward. And it is not their responsibility to do so. It is ours and the responsibility of our leaders. These are just some of the stories that I've heard from our community. We have systemic problems that require bold, progressive, and systemic solutions. Our recovery must be equitable for women, BIPOC communities, the elderly, and young people. And so this means a truly universal, equitable, affordable, and quality health childcare system, because we need to support people working in childcare, we need to support parents and mothers, and we need to provide early and quality education to all children in our community. This means a living wage so that no one who is working full-time lives in poverty. It means paid sick time because people should never have to choose between rent or food and going to work ill. This means a universal basic income because we all deserve to live with dignity and we all bring value regardless of our employment status. And it means meaningfully and aggressively fighting climate action, fighting for climate action, because the adverse effects of climate change had the biggest consequences on the most vulnerable communities. And lastly, we need leaders who recognize the devastation that institutional and systemic racism has caused in BIPOC communities across our country. We all sighed a breath of relief on Tuesday when, like Mitch said, let's not name names, but when that person was held accountable for his crimes. And yet we know that this does not mean that the system has changed. It hasn't changed in the US and it hasn't changed here in Canada. And we can't expect leaders who are comfortable with the way things currently are to fight this change. What I know about Winnipeg North is that we have people across our community who are constantly standing up and fighting for the change we need. I know this because look at the community around us tonight. And I know this because I've been living and working here in this community as well. And a beautiful recent example of this community strength was that in February, during our coldest and extended minus 35 degree cold snap, when Initiative, a youth-led organization, and other community organizations coordinated the community caring camp. They saw the needs of the community members and relatives who were left without shelter, and they responded quickly. I had the opportunity to help at the community caring camp over 5 days, and what I saw was a coming together of young community organizers, of volunteers and supporters from across Winnipeg. And I saw people meeting community members and relatives where they were at. And I saw that people were feeling a deep, deep sense of belonging. And this just further confirmed with me that the community knows what the community needs to thrive. And we need leaders who will meet community where they are. Winnipeg North has deep social justice roots and strong NDP history and current NDP leadership. I will continue this work to be the MP who walks alongside community, who meets people where they are, and who fights for the diverse needs across our community. I promise to be bold and brave and challenge the status quo. Together, we can bring the NDP back because, like I said, incredible things happen when community rallies together. So let's do this. The work really starts tonight. And thank you all so much for being here and supporting this. I look forward to meeting and working together. Thank you.
Oh, what a powerful, motivational speech, Melissa. And based on all the notes, everybody's saying the same thing. We're in, we're behind you. It's just so wonderful to know we have such a visionary and an activist ready to take on this job. So now I would like to call on Mohammed, who will make the official motion. We'll do this by the books. Ask Mohammed to move the motion for the formal acclamation of your candidacy. Mohammed. But do unmute.
Hi. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me to make it official. A motion to acclaim Melissa Chung-Mowat for our next candidate for Winnipeg North NDP federal riding. I'll ask Luba to second the motion.
Thank you, Mohammed. I second the motion.
I shall now declare Melissa nominated.
You're here. Bravo.
Bravo, everyone.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So, one more person I should introduce who's also been a part of our community, that spirit of activism and on the grounds mobilization. And that's another director, that's Annetta Armstrong, who is the ED of the Native Women's Transition Center. Thank you, Annetta, for joining us. Now, as Melissa said, she's nominated, and now it's the time for us to step up to the plate. We got to help her. We got to make this happen. There's so much to do. I mean, who knows when the Liberals will drop the writ? No one dreamed that the Liberals would call the 1997 federal election in the middle of the flood of the century. But they did, and we won. If they dare to call an election during the pandemic of the century, we will be prepared and we will win. Whenever they call the election, we have what it takes to win. But to do that, we need your help. And a strong campaign is not possible without the resources necessary to launch it forward. So to speak more to you about this, we are very fortunate to have with us a special guest, a longtime activist who comes from a string of New Democrats, who's doing a great job in the legislature as we speak. Welcome, who just came out of committee. Welcome the NDP MLA for Notre Dame, Malaya Marcelino.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Judy. My heart is beating really fast. I feel like I'm getting some goosebumps on my arm, just so excited for Melissa and for everybody here that's here to support you, Melissa. I think it's because I'm just remembering it's not even a year and a half ago that I was in a very similar place as Melissa is now. I just finished winning the nomination as the NDP candidate after a contested nomination. And I'm just, thinking back to the days after that nomination. You're just in campaign mode right away. You have to be. There were a lot of intense, long days and long nights, lots of meeting people at doorsteps and listening to the needs and concerns of neighbors. I remember getting a lot of weird comments at the door. Melissa, you might be getting some things like this too, like questions like, well, how old are you? Do you have a husband, children? What does he think of what you're doing? That kind of thing. I had people even asking me, even offering me makeup at the door. So these are the kinds of things that you might be getting, Melissa, fortunately and unfortunately. But my team and I, we ran on a shoestring budget. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of volunteers, and that made up for the lack of money sometimes. And it was, such a huge, huge help. And after winning that election, we hit the ground running and we haven't looked back. As a politician, a woman, and a person of color, I have the honor and the responsibility of bringing the voices and experiences and the solutions of folks to the decision-making table who don't usually get a seat at that table. And in just the year and a half that I've been the MLA for Notre Dame, I've worked so hard to push for a feminist post-COVID economic recovery. We've worked hard to push for universal childcare and for paid sick leave for essential workers. I couldn't have won the election. I could not be where I am today, fighting every day alongside colleagues in the legislature and for activists in the community, for the needs of women, children, for workers and the poor. And I wouldn't be able to do that if it weren't for the volunteers and supporters and all their commitments of time, money, and talent. When I was growing up in Winnipeg North, Judy was my MP and Becky Barrett was my MLA. Now, Judy and Becky are strong feminist role models for me, and they fought so hard for a better, for an inclusive community for all of us. Unfortunately, for the last little while, we've had a MP in Winnipeg North that doesn't even go past McPhillips, much less fight for a better community for all of us. And Winnipeg North needs to be represented by Melissa's progressive, compassionate voice and commitment to the whole riding, not just to the top part of the riding. And little girls in Winnipeg North need a role model member of parliament like Melissa and Leah. The NDP movement in Winnipeg North is a grassroots progressive movement that puts people before profit, families before corporations, and community before individualism. In Winnipeg North, the NDP has always represented social justice and the possibility of building a safe, healthy, happy place for ourselves, for our families, and for our neighbors. People in the community know this, and they are ready to return to those roots of the NDP. But we need to keep building our movement so that voters in our community see the vision that the NDP offers and are ready to see that real change can happen. And with the support of people like you, we're ready to take the NDP movement to the next level in Winnipeg North. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I believe that we need real political change across the board if we're going to address issues that Mitch has brought up, including housing, homelessness, addiction, environmental destruction, climate change, food security, childcare, and access to education and employment. But to make real political change happen, we need an exciting and accessible grassroots political movement, and we need to support Melissa. In 2019, the spending limit was over $100,000, and that might even be closer to $110,000 for the next federal election. Campaigning today has developed to keep pace with changes in media and technology, and Melissa's campaign will need money for signs, ads, printing, phone lines, and office space. The campaign will need money for websites, social media marketing, and volunteer and voter contact databases and online outreach. We have an amazing team forming around Mel, and we're ready to run a top-notch campaign, and we just need resources to do this. So if you believe in the ideas and values of our party, and I know you do, and the ideas and values that Mel spoke of, then I'm asking you to join me and back up those beliefs with our hard-earned cash. So here's just a little bit about what you might need to know about donating to the NDP. Every donation is extremely important and meaningful. If you can give $5 a month, it's actually better than even giving $50 just the one time. And you can get your money back at tax time on your first $300. 75% is given back to you as a tax credit, and contributions between $300 and up to $750, you can get back a 50% tax credit. The maximum that one person can give to a party in a single year is $1,650. But even if you can only give a small amount, it will help our effort. Election signs cost about $8 to $10 a piece, and a campaign website costs about $10 a day to operate. So truly anything that you can contribute would be wonderful. So can I see some hands up if you're thinking about donating today? I know I will. Okay, I see Judy's hand up. Good, Judy. Okay, it's so great to see that many of you are putting your hands up and you're ready to give. It's really important that we donate even today if we can. The Liberals are ready to call an election at any moment. It might be in the fall, but it can really be as soon as May. The Liberals nationally and here in Winnipeg North have been stuffing their piggy banks. And of course, it's going to be up to them when they're going to call it. And we need to match their spending power if we're going to take back Winnipeg North. And unfortunately, we're on our own because there's no money coming from the federal party. And just like we did for Leah in Winnipeg Center, we're going to have to power a movement for change with our own hard-earned money. So now I'm going to ask you, if you can, please pledge your donation in the chat.
Can I?
Do we have any folks who might want to give $10?
Can I pledge? Because I'm on a phone and I can't put my hand up. It's Sal Burrows. I'm good for $500 and I commit to raising another $2,000.
Oh, thank you so much, Sal, for your commitment and for being here with us tonight. We'll make sure that we can get a volunteer to follow up with you. Thank you so much, Sal. And for those that can on the chat, is anybody willing to give $10 or $10 a month even? Do we have any folks that are willing to give $100? But if you can, please go online right now and let us know in the chat, and our volunteers will follow up with you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Fabulous, you got me. I'm going to make sure I give at least 200 now and 200 later. And Ron, my partner in the basement, is going to do the same. And Joe in the living room is going to do whatever he can. It's never been more important. And while I'm speaking of family supports, I just wanted to acknowledge the incredible support that Melissa has behind her. We got this call at our house last week from a person who actually I was shocked. We met Kevin. That's Melissa's partner. He was calling through all the list of members, and he called and just to say hello and to make sure that we're ready to help and give money. And it's just so important to have that kind of support. I couldn't have run in 14 campaigns in my life and in 2 different levels of government, and without the support of Ron and of course Joe. So, which brings me to the last item on the agenda. And that is the whole question about, besides money, how we need volunteers. And I have to say that no one knows this more important. No one knows this better and how important this is than the person who was conceived during a political campaign, made his political debut at the Manitoba legislature when he was 1 week old, blamed my defeat in 1993 on not having enough lawn signs, and then in 1997, at the age of 8, when asked what I should say, I asked him what I should say when I win, and he replied, "Tell them we're going to make Ottawa rock." And then this little person said something else right after that same campaign. And I've never forgotten this. It sure takes an awful lot of work to elect one person. So who better to talk about how you can help Melissa than my best campaigner, my son, Joseph Wasilishalice.
Thanks, Mom. Hi, everybody. It's so great to see so many people on this call tonight. And you know, when I think back to my childhood self there, it sure does take a lot of people to win an election campaign. but it can also be a rockin' good time. And some of you may know, but I am going to be Mel's campaign manager for the duration of this fight. So from now until whenever we beat Kevin Lamoureux, whenever the next election is. And I know that what we need to win more than money is a committed base of volunteers. And I think volunteer is almost it doesn't do justice to what it's going to mean to work on this campaign, right? What it's going to mean to work on this campaign is it's going to be about being a co-conspirator. It's going to be about being a teammate. It's going to be about being part of a movement for really making democratic change happen in our neighborhood. And as Mitch and others have talked about on this call, it's going to be about giving power and voice to so many people in our community who have been shut out of the political process and who have been silenced over the years and who aren't able to access the levers of government or even get acknowledged by government to address the concerns that they're facing. And I'll start off with this. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think we could win. And I said that to Leah Gazan when I started working with her 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, that what we were setting out to do was entirely achievable. There wasn't a doubt in my mind that we could win. And I feel the exact same way right now when I look at the people in this room and when I look at the timeline that we have ahead of us to take back Winnipeg North. And I know that so many people on this call are just as motivated as I am. And I want to also be clear that this campaign is going to be rooted in real strategy, in real sophisticated approaches to winning this election. We have an incredibly talented and intelligent team of people who are working on strategy, who are analyzing past polling data, who are looking at demographic data, and who are coming up with real strategies to get votes out, to get people out to vote for Mel. And I think what that means is we've got a way bigger potential for growing our vote base than Kevin Lamoureux and the Liberals. There were 62,000 eligible voters in the last federal election. Kevin Lamoureux got 15,000 votes. So what I'm saying to people is that we need 15 to 20,000 people to show up and vote for Mel. There's 100 people on this call. If everybody on this call could commit to finding 100 people to vote for Mel between now and the next election, that would get us, pretty much all the way there. And that's the type of thinking I want us to have as we move forward. That every door knock, every phone call is a penny in the jar towards getting Mel elected. And it's going to be an absolute blast. So, for those of you that have worked on campaigns before, that it involves everything from stuffing envelopes and dropping off mail to putting up signs to getting on the phones to knocking on doors. But also there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we can do, right? We can plan events, we can do cool community fundraisers, we can do creative content production. So if you've got skills as a musician or an artist or someone who knows how to edit video or to do anything with multimedia, let me know, let us know, because we want to help you use your skills and your talents to tell the story that we're trying to tell with this campaign. And it's sort of my commitment and the commitment of my fellow organizers that we will do everything in our power to make sure that you are able to give your time, talent, and energy the way that you want to into a winning strategy. So that when you come to the campaign office, you know that your time is going to be well spent, that it's going to go towards a winning campaign. And that's why we need so many of you to sign up and to get involved. And the easiest way to do that is to right now go to melissaforwinnipegnorth.ca/volunteer. I see the link is up here in the chat, and just give us your email and your phone number, and we're going to follow up with you. It's a bit of a wild card depending on when the election is with the pandemic, but our commitment is to make it safe, to make sure that our campaign operates within the limits of public health orders, and to make sure that, again, that it's an effective use of our time, and that it's going to be fun. It's going to be some of the most fun we've had in years as a political movement in this community. And so I really look forward to getting to know all of you over the next coming months. And we've got a summer, right? Even though we don't know when the writ is going to drop, we're going to be volunteering all summer. We're going to be out door knocking and really having that physical, palpable presence that the polling numbers aren't going to pick up, right? And Leah, I know you're on this call, but Leah would come into the office and be like, "Oh, the polls, we're not going to win. I'm so nervous about the polls." And I was like, "No, you just got to look outside in the neighborhood. Like the buzz, like we have the buzz, we have the momentum. And we're going to do the exact same thing here in Winnipeg North for Melissa." And so I can't wait to work and co-collaborate and co-conspire with all of you beautiful and lovely people. So thank you. I can't wait.
Thank you, son. You didn't tell me you were going to be the campaign manager. Holy smokes. But if anybody knows how to do it, he does. As someone said, if only he had been my manager when I was running for mayor, I might have become the mayor of Winnipeg. But that's history, and we're going to go forward and organize. And I've been going through the list and looking at all the people who are donating. I just noticed Nathan Martindale said he's given money, and he's going to donate, and he's going to bug his dad, the former MLA for Burroughs, Doug Martindale. And I just wanted to acknowledge Nathan and all the work he's doing standing up to this government on the terrible education bill, and how you're defending the rights of teachers and students in all your work as vice president of MTS. Thank you, Nathan. And I noticed, like, my neighbor, Catherine Kreindler, is giving money and donating, and I just keep going down the list, and so many. So please just leave your name. We'll get back to you. We'll keep you in the loop, and get ready for as early as this May or June, just in case, and for sure be in top shot shape. What's the word? Shape by this been going on by late summer and early fall. So it's time. We're well within our time limit. We've got 3 minutes to go, so it's my job now to sort of wrap up the evening. I want to say a special thank you to the Echo Interpreting Services and all the interpreters. That I don't know how you do it, how you interpret for someone like me who talks so fast and doesn't always get her words correct, and you do it. You're amazing. Thank you. And I want to thank all the speakers and presenters and performers for making this evening such a spectacular kickoff to the campaign of NDP candidate Melissa Chung-Mowat. And I especially want to thank Melissa for putting herself on the line. It's a big leap to go from community activist to the front line of politics, where you're under the glare of media and on Facebook and always subject of feedback and criticism, and it's tough. And it takes a lot of courage to do this. And I just want you to know you've got support from a whole lot of people online and beyond this to back you up. So thank you for putting yourself on the line. And finally, thanks to everyone who joined us tonight. Your support means so much to Melissa and to the people of Winnipeg North. Thank you all for your commitment to building a better world. And so with that, friends, I say good night, be well, get active, and above all, stay safe. Bye for now.